Hey y'all, another running reel with William. Sorry, it's pretty real, the sweat. Not a good look. We're in France with the family. This is our spring break 2020 trip that's finally arrived. And we're doing a lot of history studying. And our guide yesterday took us by Notre Dame. If you remember, the cathedral caught fire. I had thought, must have been in 2020. That's when everything bad happened, right? It was actually 2019. So it's been over 3 years now that the cathedral has burned. And it's an interesting study because the fire department was applauded unilaterally for their decision. And their decision was, let the roof burn, guard the iconic towers. You think about it, if you look at Notre Dame, the iconic towers are what everyone remembers. The back half of the house, very important. They got all the relics out of there, but they just went ahead and let burn what could go and kept what they felt was permanent. Now, on the flip side, I asked our guide, so when will the cathedral be open again for touring? When will it function again? And he said, well, the schedule is December of 24. This is going to be over 5 years before they can fix the roof. And I said, well, why is it going to take so long? He said, oh, it's going to take longer. They're not going to be on time. I said, why? And he said, well, the president made a pretty controversial decision. What's that? He decided we're only going to use the same materials that were used when originally the cathedral was built. We're going to go back and do everything like it used to be done. We're not going to use anything modern for the back half of the house. And that reminded me of two things. One, a scripture in the Old Testament in Leviticus. Now, Leviticus isn't a great read. The first part of it's all these rules for the priests about sacrifices and burn this and offer this. And we know, if we're on Team Jesus, that the sacrifices have all been made. It happened once and it's all over. Interesting though, right after the rules of sacrifice, the very first instruction of the priest is, now, you priests, you are to determine what's permanent and what's temporal. Now, that's William's paraphrase, but basically the instruction was, you need to decide what's sacred and what's common, what lasts forever and what can be changed in the here and now. Isn't that the discernment that every leader faces, no matter what kind of leadership you're doing? And oh my goodness, if you're leading a church or a school, or you're in the middle of a culture that's changing so rapidly, what is permanent? What can be changed? My goodness. And my prayer for you, and my prayer that I make every day, is that I would grow like Jesus did. We're told the boy Jesus grew in wisdom. Isn't that interesting? He was born perfect, and yet perfection grew in wisdom. Wisdom is discernment. Discernment is knowing what's permanent and what's sacred and what's temporal or common. When we do a search for a senior pastor or a headmaster of a school or a CEO, that's always the question: how much of what we've done in the past do we need to hang on to, and how much needs to be changed, and how much change can we really tolerate without blowing the whole place up? I hope today you'll take a minute and just ask God for more wisdom. I know I need it, to decide what do we keep that's permanent? What do we change that's temporal, so that all of us can work harder toward making the church go farther and faster? Hey, thanks for putting up with the sweaty running reel. I'll see you again soon.